Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Come on in. Give it a little bit before we get started. Good morning, everybody. You are welcome to come off of mute. I would like to have this as a discussion, not so
Morning.
formal. Good morning. All right. So again, good morning, everybody. My name is Qualandra, and as people continue to come in, we will just welcome them into the space as well. Um, Again, feel free to come off camera. A reminder that we are being recorded. So just know if you do come off camera, you are being recorded. We do get to see your pretty smiles, pretty faces. Um, so again, just welcome to, we are in the trainer resiliency, self-care breakout room. Again, a little bit about myself. I am a fellow certified ACEs trainer, and I just recently became certified back in June. I don't know how many of you have been certified well before then or were part of that session. However, if either way it go, congratulations on actually being committed to this journey. It is definitely can be a challenging work, but with knowing that it is extremely eye-opening and supportive, and it just it makes the journey that much more worth it. And so just wanted to welcome everybody. So I will go ahead and share my screen. I do have like a slideshow that I had created just to talk through and to support conversation. Um, the slideshows are a little small in as far as just the information, the amount of information that is on there. But I am hoping to just have rich conversation with everyone. So again, if we are all trainers, so if we have questions for each other, the goal is to support one another in this training to promote, self-care and resiliency. So let me know. Feel free to jump in anytime. Stop me if you got any questions. Okay. I am going to share my screen. Give me one moment. All right. So I had to do one step before that. So once I actually put it in the slideshow format, I believe it may take up my whole screen, so I won't be able to see people. However, again, if we can definitely make this as informal as we want it to be. So give me one moment. Let me just do the slideshow. Oh, it didn't. That's a good thing. That's a good thing, you guys. So again, welcome, 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 welcome to Trainer Resiliency and Self-Care. Again, my tagline is always, you have the power to change your situation. And that just really speaks to, especially for us presenting this hard, challenging information to people. We want to support ourselves as well as we're supporting other people, but making sure that we are always in a space of, you know, taking care of ourselves, making sure that we are doing the things that are necessary for us to do to sustain the work, to sustain the journey, and just to make sure that we are just making taking care of ourselves and operating in a space that, where we are healthy from within. So when we are healthy from within and in all the areas and capacities of our own lives will be that much better when we're delivering the information and the material to others, will be that much more impactful, if you will. So the goal of this workout is to promote trainer resiliency by way of intentional use of self-care strategies. I have a quick quote here that I thought was pretty good. Um, we do not have to become heroes overnight, just a step at a time, meeting each thing that comes up, seeing it is not as dreadful as it appeared, dis- discovering we have the strength to stare it down. Eleanor Roosevelt. So, I mean, I came across that quote and I was just thinking, like, yeah, because, in the work, we want to make impacts and we want to make lasting impacts and we want to promote change. Um, However, we're doing it through a way that, is not always received. And it's not, it might come, um, you might be combated with some different beliefs of different individuals and understandings from different individuals. And so we definitely have to do what we have to do to take care of ourselves and also just go ahead and work through those things. Just work through those things. Any questions so far? Anybody want to add anything? Any quotes that you guys are like your go-to quotes to help you through your facilitations?
I was just gonna say, I was trained, gosh, probably 2.5 years ago. So the way the curriculum is set up now is a little bit different, and I rarely get to deliver it, maybe twice, 2 to 3 times a year that I'm able to deliver the training in its entirety. So um, I have to like gear myself up
Yeah.
to put myself into it. And then when I do present, I have to remind myself, like, hey, it's been a while. Like, I can be a little bit hard on myself to be um, just cognizant of where I sit in that, like whether it brings up trauma of my own or how I'm
Hmm.
portraying it to people. So while I don't get to do it every day, I do have to remind myself of that self-care and putting myself, like you mentioned, intentionally
Hmm.
and able to present what I'm supposed to, be an expert on. But sometimes I do feel like a little lost in it. So just
Yeah.
my 2 cents.
No, and I appreciate that because
Sure.
absolutely, absolutely. And again, that just goes to this quote about being heroes overnight. Like, we're not heroes, right? Well, in a sense, right? We're not superheroes, but we are superheroes. And so the content that we're delivering is extremely heavy, and it could be traumatizing for us or it can be triggering for us. So just, and the knowledge, like the more we do it, the more we learn, but the less we do it, kind of, we create a disconnect there sometimes. And so just getting back into the routine of things and just having the attitude and just like, I'm just going to do it one step at a time. One training at a time, right? And then in the meantime of that, like, what am I doing day to day to promote the self-care, the self-healing, to be, if there are things that we're triggered about, or if there are things that come up for us, what am I doing to make sure I'm still walking in this way or this light that I should be walking in. So thank you for sharing. So I didn't reinvent the wheel, guys. I really just took time and thought about just some different things some different ways that, we could promote trainer resiliency through self-care. And so I came up with 5 foundational steps. Um, One beginning with gratitude. What does that look like for everybody? Mindfulness. self-awareness. Like, what does that even look like for everybody? Creating self-care routines. And then number five, building deeper connections. As you can see, like I found this slide show template, and I definitely could have picked some brighter pictures, but I really just thought that these just had some beautiful backgrounds and sceneries. And if you're, in Arizona, which maybe most of us are, we can, use some of these bright pictures and beautiful sceneries as of late. So, but again, gratitude, mindfulness, self-awareness, and self-care routines and build a deeper connection. So we'll definitely go through each of these in the rest of the time that we have now. And again, just create some conversation around them. I welcome any feedback back. I welcome if you got some things that you are putting into practice now. And the goal again is to help support our fellow trainers. Because while Andrea, you mentioned like we're expected to be, the the ones who know it all, right? No, and it's just that's not the case. We are still in a space of learning and growing, and that's the goal, to be learning and growing from each other. So, so five foundational steps to promote trainer resiliency through self-care. Gratitude. Gratitude is my first one. Gratitude is actually pretty big for me. I just, again, the definition here, the quality of being thankful, readiness to show appreciation for and to return kindness. So just quickly, I put a couple of things that I think are super important when we talk about gratitude. So one, again, implementing a daily habit of reflecting on all the people, all the places, all the things that you are grateful for. I mean, sometimes I'm like, and so I'm spiritual, but however, my gratitude consists of saying thank you, God, for allowing me to wake up, see light, walk on ground, like have all my limbs. I go around and I name things. So now, while I may not do like this full, this full list of things that I may say, but there are times where I'm like, thank you for my heart, my liver, my kidney. Like I am grateful for all the things that I think we sometimes take for granted. So just making sure that we are you know, reflecting on the things that we are grateful for. And even if that means for us to write it down, make it big, place it in a place where you see it every single day, set it on your alarm, make it part of your morning routine. Another thing that I enjoy doing, and I find it extremely useful and helpful, acknowledge the future people, places, things that you are grateful for in the present tense. I mean, I am grateful to make um, a six-figure income. I'm grateful that I made a six-figure income in 2023. Now, I have not made that yet, right? But I'm speaking it into my future, and I am saying thankful for the things that there are endless possibilities to do. Um, People, places, things, people. I'm thankful. Some people are like, I'm thankful that I'll have my first kid in 2023, right? And just showing your gratitude. And just are are there any gratitude practices that you all use? What are some things that you put into place on a day to day?
I'll be the chatty one.
Come on, let's do it.
I I don't express gratitude enough. And just you mentioning writing it down, I absolutely it's definitely something I need to focus on.
Yeah. Thanks for
So,
sharing that.
of course.
I actually in my every year, and whether it be the beginning of the year, middle of the year, when I'm doing my goals for the year, the things that I want to have and do, I make sure I have a gratitude section. And so I actually printed it out. I put it in a picture frame and set it right on my dresser. And one of the things that I have been encouraged to do, I have not yet done I have not yet implemented daily, but reading it before I go to bed because it is super long. It's like two two pages, and so um, but just reading it, just gratitude is important. Can anybody else speak to why they think gratitude is important?
I think that I practice gratitude all the time, and I think that it just helps keep our own mind focused on the things that we're grateful for, but it also adds a positivity to your outlook on everything.
Thank you, Christy. I appreciate you sharing. Absolutely. And positivity is necessary when there is so much negativity in the world. We're dealing within our own, circles, our own places of employment, families. And so, and then in the work, we want to bring it back to the work. The work is heavy. This content is heavy, right? And so when you come at it from a positive end, while you're delivering it, right? We know that this is heavy. However, we can still, it can still, not define you, but if we're just coming at it, just being, a negative from a negative point of view, it doesn't help get the message out as clear as positive that we would like for it to be. Hmm. Thank you, Chrissy, for sharing. So mindfulness is the state of active, open attention to the present. This state is described as observance one's thoughts and feelings without judging them as good or bad. And that comes from the Journal of Psychology Today. And so some mindfulness activities, whether it be doing what you love, doing what you like, or just simply doing what you need to do, because there are going to be a lot of, there's a lot of things that we can actually do that helps create and support mindfulness, but it may not be some of the things that many of us love or like to do. But some of the things that I thought about was walking. Going for a long walk, being mindful that after or before delivering the content that you may need to give your brain some freedom, a breath, by walking and getting some fresh air, walking and allowing yourself to just take a minute and just have some time to yourself. If dancing is something that you love to do or like to do, put on some dancing music and just have yourself a good time. I am often reminded about just being kid-like sometimes. As adults, as parents, as, just, I mean, people, and we all have different situations and, um, go through different transitions. We tend to carry the weight of the world on us, and we go through this 24 hours a day, and we just don't give ourselves a break a lot of times. And sometimes just thinking about being kid-like and get to dancing, get to singing, get to joking, right? Get to dreaming again. And I know these are not on the list, but here meditating, whether it be guided or unguided, journaling, stretching, reminding yourself that stretching just, oh man, it opens up all those bones, all those spaces that we kind of just it's compacted every single day and we're not breathing. You know, um, Grounding activities, just reminding yourself to come back, right? It has been a long day, or we did a training, or we're going into a training, or we're preparing, and sometimes our hours just go by so fast and we're just so busy, so in tune to what we're doing, and we don't take time to come back to ourselves, come back to our senses, come back to our abilities, and just ground ourselves. And more. Are there any activities that you all implement when it comes down to mindfulness? Or can you talk about maybe how it has helped you do some of your trainings that you've facilitated? Let me ask this question. How many of you have already delivered the content? I know you have, Andrea. Okay, thanks, Jennifer. Jennifer, if you don't mind me asking, how many have you facilitated?
Two, I
Two.
believe. Yeah.
Okay. Were there any things that you did in the beginning? And again, you don't, I'm okay with you not sharing. I didn't want to just call you out like that. But if anybody's willing to share, is there anything that they've done before or after the trainings to help with mindfulness to get them back?
I know for me, like before presenting, I do a lot of like breathing techniques. So I get a lot of anxiety. So I kind of just do a lot of breathing and telling myself like positive things before I go up and present.
Thank you. Thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's super important, right? Because I mean, as I'm speaking now, you guys probably can't, my hands are just super clammy. I keep doing like this because, anxiety kicks in, right? And for me sometimes, but I know, what I'm doing is worthwhile. And then also, we got 10 minutes left, is worthwhile, but then also knowing that before this, I took a lot of time just to do some grounding and give myself some affirmations and things that help me through this process. So again, thank you, Jennifer, for sharing. Self-awareness. So I am a big believer in um, self-awareness, right? Other awareness, but particularly self-awareness for us as facilitators. And so being conscious knowledge of one's own character, feelings, motives, and desires. So, am I making an honest effort, you know, um, before, during, and after facilitating my trainings? Am I using positive self-talk? Again, all these different things could be implemented before, during, and after. Am I recognizing my own biases? Am I operating in my authentic presence? Like, am I here or am I just here? You know, am I influencing the space positively? And so many other ways to become self-aware. Um, are there any other things that you all think about when you think about self-awareness and how it impacts in and out of facilitation mode?
Feel like that self-awareness is key just in how you're presenting and what you're presenting. I know that there's been times that, something has triggered me and I hear my voice crack and I'm like, hold up, where you got to go back to that deep breath, deep breathing and say, now is not your time to take care of, what you need to, but at the same time, being able to recognize that and, apologize, say, you know what, give me a second, take my deep breath and then get back into it. But being, how you're presenting as well.
Thank you. That's I appreciate hearing that. Absolutely. Just recognizing like, oh, wait a minute, I think I'm triggered, or whether it be triggered by the content or triggered by someone else or somebody else's reaction or somebody else's response. Again, we're going to be coming against people who have, we're not trying to change anybody's beliefs. We're just trying to deliver the information. However, we may come across where we're being kind of pressed or, um, kind of, I just say press, in a sense of like, okay, combat it back with this or that, some things that we may have to address, but finding that space to say, wait a minute, this is not about me right now, and bringing myself back, grounding myself back, and getting back to the work. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. That's important. Yeah, am I influencing the space positively? And I think the more that we practice self-awareness, in and out of facilitating mode is important because once we get there, we can tap into tap into what we already have on the inside of us, right? We're self-aware and we're moving through that, and especially in this space. And it also brings me to think about like as we are facilitating, having those co-facilitators to help us in time of if we need to take a break, if we need that moment, having some type of code word to say, hey, give me a moment. Um, maybe it's your turn, or you can handle the next um, the next screen, or whatever the case may be. Just creating something to help support you as you facilitate. Self-care routines. So just definitely implementing self-care routines. What does that look like for you? Whether that be creating a daily routine, a weekend routine, however you feel necessary to make sure that you are creating a space for self-care. And in that space, what are you doing? You want to, are you reading? You want to make sure you're relaxing. And I put read a book. But if it's pedicure or spa or journaling or talking or crying or praying, whatever it is to create self-care, but turning it into an intentional routine. Again, I talk about how we just get caught up in the day-to-day life, 24-hour in, 24-hour out. What does it look like to really stop and take care of ourselves and be intentional about there about that? Is there anyone who could share some of the things that they do on their self-care routines?
I have to laugh. I have a 20-year-old son away at college, and every Sunday he calls it his reset day. But
Okay.
he cleans. Again, he's out of the norm. Um, but that is his self-care. Like
Yeah.
he is like, oh, I had a reset day. And I was like, great. But it puts him in that mindset to like, okay, he's in college, he's working. This is his one day to kind of reset his life, get everything organized, clean, and then helps him, reset for the week ahead.
Yep. Yep. That I love
But
it.
he
I
did
love
not
it.
get the cleaning from me. So
That was not your idea.
that
No,
is not one of my self-care routines.
no, that's great to hear, because right, different people need different things that is going to set them up and make them feel okay. Right? Some people can operate in different spaces. It sounds like he cannot operate in clutter or lack of organization, and he has to have that. So that is great for him to start implementing. And more importantly, it is great that he has recognized that it's important for him to have a self-care, a reset day. And so not many people do it, young or older. So um, I'm I'm happy to hear that. Yeah. Anybody else? Can anybody else share any of their self-care routines, strategies, tips? All right, so I'll go to the last slide. Building deeper connections. As we continue to facilitate and do the work, we want to make sure that we are building deeper connections. I know that I said build relationships with other ACEs facilitators, in a sense of building a support community, whether it's in in or outside of the facilitating network, building deeper relationships, being willing to nurture relationships. So it's one thing to, they always talk about building your network, can make for your net worth, but also making sure those you nurture those relationships. They're meaningful relationships, especially in this space where we are facilitating such a heavy content. It's important for us to be able to, hey, Jennifer, Andrea, Jonathan, Christy, can I bounce this off of you? Or I need a co-facilitator, or I totally bomb this this training and I just need to bounce back. And I just, so having a supportive group that could actually um, support you in a sense of we may all have been there, we may all go there at some point in time, but using those relationships to help us through, and again, to increase our knowledge, increase our facilitating skills, all these different things that we could do with each other in this community. Sharing information again is a part of that. Like, what worked for you, what didn't work for you, how did that make you feel? Do you have any suggestions? Or here are some suggestions and different things that we can do, just building those deeper connections. And then again, all of this ties into supporting fellow trainers, whether you've done one or many or none. What does it look like to support our fellow trainers? I absolutely encourage you all to take a look at the Circle platform and provide any feedback, and then watch those on-demand videos. Uh, I think it will be great. So, anybody got anything else to add? All right. So I know we have probably just a couple more minutes, guys, and ladies and gents. And so I just really wanted to add just some additional suggestions, and I didn't put them on the screen. But before trainings, take time to level set mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. Create a space that is free from any added stressors. So many of you may not have known, or you may have looked at my face. My grandson just actually walked in and I had to give him the pointer finger, like, go, go, go. And so a lot of us are at home and doing these trainings from home or in a space that we can't always be by ourselves. So create a space that is free from any added stressors. Find your safe space. Make time to debrief after your trainings. Allow for reflection of training. Take note of your own triggers, uncomfortable moments, and any other points during your training, and adjust as needed. And again, because knowing better does not always equal to doing better, accompanying the knowledge, increasing skill, and being committed can help support you in the actual doing of the being better part. So just wanted to give you those little tidbits. And so again, if anybody has any questions, any feedback, I love to hear about it. Thank you so much for coming into the room and adding value, or just being here. Thank you.
Thank you. I wanted to say, even though you just went through this in June, I think you did a tremendous job. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. So yes, I'm not for sure how many minutes we got, but hi, Mariana. Nice to see you. I'm just gonna check it. Anybody got any new trainings coming up? Any scheduled ones? No scheduled ones.
Well, there's a Sang-hoon told us about, I don't know what the title of it is. Oh, I think it's Empowering Hope or something like that, down in Tucson, that he's going to be at, and a bunch of other people, but it's free. It's Friday. There's going to be a lot of vendors or tables there. So, yeah, so I'm looking forward to that.
Okay, awesome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am actually going to share my screen with everybody. Give it a couple more minutes. I see people are leaving and coming. Now, Taisha, I don't think that is how you pronounce your name, right?
It's Taisha.
You know, in our training we had, I actually like broke it down on how to how to pronounce it in case I ever needed to say it. And now I am here and don't have that with me. So welcome. Nice to see you again.
Thank you. Nice to see you too.
You are. Thank you. You're welcome. Uh-oh. Looks like I gotta plug up. Give me 1 second, guys. Thankful for the warning. All right. All right. Well, I guess we can go ahead and get started. And if people come in, it'll be great. They'll just come in on a space where we are. And if we need to go back, we'll have time. Again, welcome to the Trainer Resiliency and Self-Care Breakout Room. My tagline is always, you have the power to change your situation. I am a fellow ACES certified trainer. And I did mention I have just recently became certified this past June, and I am excited to be in a space with you discussing how we as trainers can build resiliency and be intentional around implementing self-care strategies. I believe that facilitating ACEs can be a challenging work. However, we are here and willing with consistent self-care routines, we can endure the journey with grace. Again, welcome. And I would like to have this space. I don't want to be, I'm not a very big talker, and you might notice that. So I don't like whole lot of fluff. So just to fill up space. So I welcome this, I welcome conversation. I'm looking for feedback, and we are here in a space to support each other. So I'm not the know all, end all, be all person. I don't even operate like that. I believe I just never want to be the smartest person in the room or have all the great suggestions. So I invite you to share what you do in your experience, whether it be in the facilitator role or not. Share your experience with your fellow trainers as well. So the goal for the breakout is to promote trainer resiliency by way of intentional use of self-care strategies. And a quote that I found that I thought that was really good for this breakout or in this title. We do not have to become heroes overnight, just a step at a time, meeting each thing that comes up, seeing it is not as dreadful as it appeared, discovering we have the strength to stare it down. Eleanor Roosevelt. So that definitely, for me, it really spoke to me because this work can be a challenging work. Um, I do it in the hopes of to create impact, to promote change. And if we have to be the ones to bring the hard information, have the hard conversations, and I know the facilitating of the information is what it is, facilitating the information. But sometimes within our own circles, we have to have these hard conversations, and it really just brings up a lot. So while we probably do not see ourselves as being heroes, and some of us, in our own right are heroes, but it doesn't happen overnight. It takes a work. So just know that you are here, you're doing it, you chose to do it for a reason, and I'm glad to be in your space on this journey. So with this, I thought about there are many steps to promote trainer resiliency, and there's also many things to do that can promote self-care. However, for time's sake, I said, well, let's do 5 foundational things. And these are the things that I deem important for me, and I definitely wanted to be able to share with you all. And again, this is a space where you will have an opportunity to share what has worked for you. And yeah, share what has worked for you. So the first thing would be the gratitude. showing gratitude. What does that look like for you? Mindfulness. How do you implement mindfulness? Self-awareness. How important is that to you? Why is that important to you? How does it help you facilitate the the curriculum and the information that you share, and then building deeper connections? What does that look like for you? Do you have any suggestions on how to build deeper connections? And why is that important in this work? So gratitude. Gratitude, the quality of being thankful, readiness to show appreciation for and to return kindness. So, what are you thankful for? What do you give gratitude for? Gratitude, implementing a daily habit of reflecting on all the people, places, and things that you are grateful for. Um, just really taking time in a world where we just get so busy, and we take advantage of a lot of the things that I know that I should probably be showing gratitude for. I have made it a practice to write out my gratitudes, my daily gratitudes, and then write out just a whole list of things that I'm always thankful for. And then some days I am super specific on what I am thankful for. For example, there have been times where I have woken up and I do bring I'm s- you know I wake up and I say thank you, God, for me being able to see, for me being able to smell, for me being able to taste and move and be in my right mind, right? And be able to talk. These are the things that I sometimes take for granted. And so just being super thankful, and then how that plays a role in the work that we are doing. I believe that when you are showing gratitude and you're building the habit of being thankful just for everything, it brings a sense of positivity. It could be a light for you. You could be a light for others. And then to acknowledge the future people, places, things that you are grateful for in the present tense. So I know that every year I make a goal for the year. And then in this vision or this vision slash goal for the year, and in this goal, I actually acknowledge and show gratitude. One of the examples that I gave in the last room was I am thankful that I made over six figures this year. Thank you. So, like, just speaking it into existence. And so, again, with that, is there any gratitude practices that you all implement, and why do you think it's important? Please come off mic and share.
For me, I'm spiritual, so I give gratitude to the Creator, God. I love meditation too, to just sit with my thoughts as a creative, as a visual artist in the community, working with the trauma-informed community, and an empath. It's I have to basically take care of my energy because that can be impacted, especially with the trauma of losing a sister to domestic violence, and then hearing stories of thrivers in our community. So I do a lot of praying and meditation and just to take care of myself.
Thank you, Tasha, for sharing. Yeah, it's extremely important. Again, taking care of your energy. What type of energy do you want um, to have when you're around other people? What type of energy are you bringing to any space that you're in? So even if we had to take it back to facilitating a training, what type of energy are you coming with? What have you done to make sure that how you are showing up is safe, is welcoming, right? Is positive. So definitely finding ways to show gratitude and just be thankful that we are our loved ones, right? They made it home and safely to and from. You get to say good night, you get to say good morning to them one more day. So just finding ways to, be grateful. And if it means, posting for me, I love the idea of having things right in front of me. Because there are some times where it's just like a simple or a quick thank you or a quick show of gratitude. But I think really if we become super intentional about what we are thankful for and how we give gratitude to it, it could really, really just increase your level of lightness, positivity, and overall just increase your level of joy. And for me, that's the goal, to walk through every single day and find joy in all the things that that I may be dealing with or going through. So thank you. Anybody else want to share? All right. Mindfulness. Mindfulness is a state of active, open attention to the present. This state is described as observing one's thoughts and feelings without judging them as good or bad. And I got that from Journal of Psychology Today. So some of the mindfulness activities that I listed here are not the end all be all. And these things are doing what you love to do, doing what you like to do. Or sometimes even if you don't love or like to do it, it's probably doing what you need to do just to get you in a space to where that you can, again, Taisha, thank you, create that energy. Just become one with self, get yourself centered. So whether that be walking, dancing and singing, I like to think about just becoming childlike sometimes. We get so bogged down with our day-to-day comings and goings. And sometimes we forget to laugh. Sometimes we forget to take a joke. How many of you have in a space where you are like, that's not funny? Well, I know it have been funny to you depending on what it was, right? But it was funny, just becoming a little bit more lighthearted. So what does that look like for you? Um, and you know what? I just noticed that my number 3 says signing. So I'm just gonna play it off. Yeah, I don't think I can play it off. Don't worry about it. I really meant singing there. But was singing, meditating, guided or unguided, right? And so I enjoy going on YouTube. I enjoy coming into my room and putting on my headphones away from distractions and just getting grounded. I enjoy journaling. Sometimes a lot of people will say, journal, journal, journal. And that's not always easy. You don't always find time to do it. Well, here's the thing, find time to do what it is that will help you through your day to days, hard times, good times. Just get, into a space where you are like, I want to do this for me. Stretching, taking time to stretch your bodies. I think most of us, if you're like me, you get up and you go and you go and you go until you actually come home and sit. And I know that I have been intentional lately about exercising and stretching and breathing and just understanding how important that is to get through the day to day. But if you have to, definitely bring it back to the training and the facilitating of the work can be, the content can be super heavy. So what are you doing to get yourself back and pull yourself back into a state of okayness? Like, whew, that was heavy. And sometimes we just go through it. We just go through it and we have to find ways to come back to safety, grounding activities, and more. Is there anything else that other people implement for mindfulness activities?
You know, I like coloring,
Mm,
coloring for adults, and or painting. It makes me really be in the moment, in the space, grounded in what I'm doing. It's something that I like practice or also walking.
Absolutely. Thank you, Anna, for sharing.
Um,
Coloring. Love it. Go ahead, Mariana.
yeah. I like, I'm not much of a morning person, but I like sitting outside on my porch in the morning and just watching the sunlight come through the trees and just listening to birds and stuff. And so just having that time for me to just stare off into space and just really blank out because I'm so, my mind's a million miles an hour and it's overwhelming. I overwhelm myself. So if I can just, veg out and not think about anything, it's really peaceful.
Love it. Thank you for sharing. Veg out, right? Veg out with my cup of coffee and just be like, whew, take some breaths of fresh air. I love it. Thank you. April.
Something that I've been doing this past year. So I've been relearning how to do Navajo weaving. It's something that my grandmothers used to do, and unfortunately never had a chance to learn from them. And so I've had an opportunity, my mom and I have had an opportunity to relearn and kind of revive that practice in our family. And there's something about when you like sit in front of your loom, like you have to be in a really good state of like mindfulness and like in just groundedness, because if you're not, it's very easy to make a mistake and not notice right away. Or it seems simple to do, but because it's this kind of a repetitive practice. But often my mom and I have found that if we're not in a grounded place, or a place that we're just like in the present moment, and your mind is wandering or you're stressed about something, we end up having a lot of problems and making mistakes and having to take it all apart and redo those sections. And so that's something that's been really good for me. And I think also just like other things, like I'm a thinker, so I'm often constantly thinking about like the next thing I got to do, or just anything. And sometimes I have a hard time being in the present moment. And I know people have suggested this too as a mindfulness practice, is like to be intentional when you're eating, um, and thinking about like what you're eating. How does it taste? How does it make you feel? Think about how it's nourishing you. All of those different things. If it's bringing you joy, that type of stuff. Because when you do an activity like eating, it's easy for your mind to wander because you're just doing something that you're used to. But you're actually kind of like paying attention to it in a more grounded way, it can be really helpful.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing, April. And I definitely wanted to go back to the Navajo weaving. And almost when you were speaking, it was like, if you're not intentional about being present, well, how about if you are intentional about being present, the creativity that it brings? So I think when you're in your creative space, it's almost like, you know what, you're gonna make less mistakes, or it just allows for free flow. And so, and then also, yes, the eating, like, okay, that's just something that we do, right? Whether we're watching TV, whether we're talking and eating, but just definitely being intentional about, about being mindful when we are doing and when we are saying things is really, really important. Yeah. So just a quick question. What do you think about mindfulness as it relates to facilitating the curriculum? How does it help us?
I think as a trainer, like I just got trained in July, and I haven't yet done a ACES presentation, but I've done a lot of presentations and facilitated a lot of sessions on other topics. And for me, I think that, like, when you're getting ready to like present or facilitate any session, if you come into it, at least for me, if I can come into it being mindful and ground myself, I notice I'm bringing that energy to the group, right? So instead of coming in very stressed out or overwhelmed or whatever, then your mind isn't thinking clearly, and it can make it really difficult to present or to facilitate activities and such. And so being able to kind of, and this is what I've done, because I find myself that sometimes I will get really kind of stressed and overwhelmed, but right before, to do some mindfulness and grounding for myself just as an individual, so then I come in feeling good. I come in feeling like, that the thoughts and the things are going to come to me in a good way, and that I'm going to be able to engage with the participants in a good way. I think that, that's the way that it applies.
Absolutely. And I agree. I agree with it all. Just being eh, mindful that, especially when you're coming into the trainings, you want to be able to bring a certain level of energy. You want to have a certain level of clarity, right? Because when you're all bogged down and you got a late training or even a mid-morning training after you've dropped off, for some of us dropping off pickup, right? We gone we've done 8 things before or 10 things before we deliver a training. And so just being intentional about taking time to get yourself back grounded, get yourself back to a space where you are clear, you are ready, you are confident, and it's extremely important. It's extremely important. Thank you, April, for sharing. Self-awareness, another really, really big thing for me, especially when it comes down to emotional intelligence, and how it plays a role in how we show up as individuals, how we show up as facilitators, and just how we show up day to day in our own circles. Conscious knowledge of one's own character, feelings. I'm sorry, guys. Feelings, motives, and desires. So, and this is not the end all be all, but these are some things it's important for us to think about when we're coming into a space where we are facilitating the information, when we are touching on such a hard conversation. Am I making an honest effort? Am I using positive self-talk? What does that sound like? How often or not do we take time to be like, oh, wait a minute. What are you thinking, Qualandra? Thinking, right? That's the thing. And we want to be able to use positive self-talk before and after, during anything that we're facilitating. Being sure to recognize my own biases. So, am I recognizing my own biases? Am I operating in my authentic presence? I capitalize presence because we are present in a lot of spaces. And how many times do we just, I like the term, what did you say? You said veg out. How many times do we veg out during, I don't care if it is a meeting, if it is a conversation with one of our loved ones, how many times do we just kind of space out for a minute? So am I, and just I think it's important for us to make sure that we're always operating or doing the best that we can to operate in a space of self-awareness. Again, how am I influencing the space positively? What does that mean? What does that look like for you? Why is it so important to um, be positive, even in negative situations, being a light in the dark, right? And how that relates to, again, facilitating the content. So definitely promoting self-awareness. Other I just love self personal development, self-empowerment, and through and learning that through emotional intelligence. And this is definitely one of those things that is necessary in and outside of the facilitator role. And the more I'm just a true believer, the more we practice the things that we are mentioning, the things that we're saying, it was easy for us to get it when we need it, or when we feel ourselves being triggered, when we feel our emotions kind of just going array. Like, if we can continue to put things, model things, and practice things, build it, right? Create those different skills. It could be easier for us to tap into these things when we need them, and when we need to show them, in the times that we really need to show up this way. Any thoughts on this?
Yes, I would like to comment on thinking about the subjects that we are going to present, and knowing our audience and knowing ourselves can highly, in my opinion, influence the space positively or negatively. So getting in touch with self, because it's something that's may trigger that. I've experienced this in the training that triggered something in my past. So I had to be aware of that and be able to still present it in a positive way.
Absolutely, absolutely, Rachel. Thank you so much for sharing, because absolutely, we are still, a lot of us are still a work in progress, right? Um, while we are deemed the experts, one, we don't know everything, and two, we are still implementing a lot of the things, and that we are hoping that other people can start implementing to help move through um, everything. We have our own aces. So we're still, again, and I say we're still implementing some things to help us move through our own traumas in our own spaces. So absolutely continuing to be positive, even when we are triggered, and finding our own spaces to do so, safe spaces to do so. Thank you so much, Rachel, for sharing that. Self-care routines. And I know we got 5 minutes left, so I'm going to go through it. Self-care routines, extremely important to create a self-care routine, right? A lot of times we just, again, just move through the day to day, week by week. Find your space to read whatever it is that you love to read, or listen to audiobooks. Relax, read a book, get a pedicure, a spa, do journaling, talk, cry, pray. Put it into a routine is key here, though. Sporadic, sometimes it could, if you're doing it sporadically, you might want to think about making sure that it's in a routine, so that it could just become habit, that it could be part of life. Okay. And if you got any other self-care routines that you do, absolutely feel free to share. I welcome it. And then lastly, building deeper connections. So again, in um, in facilitator mode, outside of facilitator mode, extremely important to build relationships with other ACEs facilitators. Again, we're in a community where we have to support each other. I think is necessary, extremely necessary, to learn, grow, and support each other. So being willing to nurture relationships, sharing information, supporting the fellow trainers is the overall goal here. But doing it with grace, doing it with compassion, and doing it out of love. Because again, we're all like behind our own individual whys of why we decided to do this, why we decided to keep coming, keep pressing along. um it's important that we have support to make sure that we could be resilient and sustain the process, right? Sustain the journey. So I am extremely glad that you guys came in. I was able to share this. I really hope that it brought some value. uh and I appreciate all your shares. Thank you so much. I know we got a couple minutes. I didn't put here on the slide, but there were some additional suggestions that I just thought that would be great to share with you all, um, as it pertains to the training. So before trainings, take time to level set mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. Create a space that is free from any added stressors. Find your safe space, as Rachel mentioned, like Sometimes we get triggered. And if we got our co-facilitator, making sure that we have code words, making sure that we have a plan and process in place to, if we either one gets triggered, somebody else could take over for a second. You come back, find your safe space. Um, Make time to debrief after your trainings. Allow for reflection of training. Take note of your triggers, uncomfortable moments, and any other points during your training and adjust as needed. While knowing better does not always equal doing better, accompanying the knowledge, increasing the skill, and being committed could help us to all do better in and out of facilitator mode. So, again, thank you so much. I really hope that you found some value or some insight. Excited to work with you all sometime in the near future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Afternoon now.
Oh, it is. Listen,
Yeah, it's after 12.
it is
It's,
12. Phone is sitting right here, 12:55.
it's almost 1 o'clock.
Oh, we've been moving through this. It feels like it's only been 10 minutes. How are you this morning or
I'm,
afternoon?
I'm doing fantastic.
Good, 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 good. Glad to have you here. And we'll wait and see if some other people are going to come in. And if not, me and you, we will have a great, great conversation.
Okay, no problem. Whatsoever.
Awesome.
So, are you here in Phoenix or exactly where are you?
Yes, I am. I'm actually located in the Peoria,
Okay.
West Valley. How about yourself?
I'm in South Mountain.
Oh my, well, how far is that? So just
Oh,
FYI, I'm fairly new to
okay.
Arizona as well, two
All
years.
right.
So,
Okay. When you look at the mountain to the south,
oh
opposite of the one
gosh.
that looks like the camel, you look down to the south. Like I said,
Okay.
opposite of the one that looks like the camel.
Okay.
And you see the antennas on top of the mountain? I live right below those antennas. And
Really?
and that's considered South Mountain Range pretty much goes from downtown Phoenix,
Okay.
Chase Field,
Yeah.
all the way down to the foot of that mountain, and pretty much from 48th Street or by Arizona Mills
Okay.
to the west, the 10 or whatever, all the way over to maybe 83rd. No, I'm sorry, 27th Avenue, because Levine starts at roughly 27th Avenue along
Yep.
base.
Yep. Along baseline.
Yep. So
Okay.
that's pretty much South Mountain.
Okay.
Uh,
Oh,
roughly.
cool.
That's about it.
Oh, cool. 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 Well, it looks like it's you and I, so we can get started.
There's two, four, it's six other people in here.
Is it?
You don't see them?
I
Yeah.
do not see it. I only see
Oh,
you.
there's six other people in here.
Team, team, I am so sorry. I apologize. I only see you. So do you guys see my screen? Do you see my screen where
I
it's
see your
only
screen
you?
where it says welcome, training, resiliency, and self-care.
Yeah.
Yep,
All
I
right.
see that.
My apologies. Okay. My apologies, everybody, again. So just welcome to the Trainer Resiliency and Self-Care. And just as I had was telling this fine gentleman here, I really just want this to be a conversation. All of the information that I'm sharing, of course, is not the end all be all. And as we are here to help support our community of trainers, I welcome feedback. I welcome your tips, your suggestions, just the different things that you do to help you be one, um, a better you, and then also to be a better facilitator, and especially as we're delivering a such a heavy content. And so it could be a little challenging. So how we promote, resiliency and what we do for self-care is extremely important. So again, welcome. And I don't know why. Let me just maybe if I do this right here. Okay, hold on one second. I think it's just me. There we go. There we go. Now I can see everybody. Let me get it back together. There we go. Nicole, Karen, Sabrina, Maribel. Am I missing anybody? Welcome, welcome. All right. So the goal of this breakout is to promote trainer resiliency. Excuse me, sorry. Promote trainer resiliency by way of intentional use of self-care strategies. I found this quote to speak life to what we do and sometimes how we feel. We do not have to become heroes overnight, just a step at a time, meeting each thing that comes up, seeing it is not as dreadful as it appeared, discovering we have the strength to stare it down. Eleanor Roosevelt. So just a quick um, introduction. Again, my name is Qualandra Hudgens. I am a fellow ACES certified trainer. I just recently became certified this past June, probably with some of you in here. I am extremely excited to be in a space with you discussing how we as trainers can build resiliency and be intentional around implementing self-care strategies. I believe that facilitating ACEs again can be a challenging work. However, we are here and willing, and with a consistent self-care routine, we can we can endure the journey with grace. So again, I welcome this as an open conversation. Um, while there may be plenty of ways to promote trainer resiliency through self-care, for time's sake, I chose the top five that I thought that are extremely important to me, and that could be extremely beneficial to you. And again, inviting you to share some of your strategies and techniques with the group as well would be great. So the first one, five foundational steps. One is gratitude. Two, mindfulness. What does that look like for you? How do you implement mindfulness? How does it play a role when it comes time for you to facilitate your ACES curriculum? Self-awareness, again, what does that look like to you? How important is that to you, especially as you deliver and facilitate your ACES curriculum? Self-care routine. So, what does that look like for you? Why is that important for you in and out of the facilitator role? And then building deeper connections. Why building deeper connections is important and how we could absolutely start to be intentional around creating these connections with each other in and outside your role, but specifically as it relates to the community of trainers. So the first one we'll touch on is gratitude. Gratitude, the quality of being thankful, readiness to show appreciation for and to return kindness. So two things that I learned to do and started doing for myself was implementing a daily habit of reflecting on all the people, all the places, and all the things that I am grateful for. And so I know that life can get so busy where we're just coming and going. As some people would say, coming and going. And we're just flying by the seat of our pants every day. Absolutely taking time to implement gratitude, getting up and saying what you are thankful for is extremely important, especially as it relates to facilitating any group. But as we speak to facilitating the ACEs training, it's like creating a space where we are just thankful and positive and having this positive energy flowing through us. And I believe that if we start to implement daily gratitude, we will create this sense of light and lightness and softness, um, uh, you know, to our character, and to how we show up in spaces. I always like to, the second thing I like to do is acknowledge the future people, the future places, the things that I am grateful for, but I do it in the present tense. And so I use the example of I get up daily and I have a list of things that I am grateful for, and I read them daily. And then a lot of them, outside of just saying thank you for right now specific things, I say I am grateful. I am grateful that in 2023 I made, six figures plus, and I have a certain amount there. And I say thank you. And I just have a list of things that I say because I believe that it just allows me to be grateful for the things that I know that I can have. Be grateful for the things that I'm expecting to receive or to do, or the people that I'm expecting to meet, and just being thankful that I am making an impact or that I have made a impact in whatever ways. So just finding gratitude. So for you all that's here, what ways have you implemented gratitude, whether it be daily or however for you? What does gratitude look like for you? And you can come off mute. Anybody can share.
Well, I think no, no, I don't think I know. For me, my gratitude is in knowing, having friends, family. I'm thankful for them. I'm glad that they're in my life and I'm in their lives. And and one of the ways that I do that is I every day of the week I call a certain group, such as like Sunday I can call anyone. That's a free day. Monday I normally try to call the guys I grew up with. Tuesday I try to call one of my college buddies. Wednesday I call one of my fraternity brothers. Thursday I call somebody here in Phoenix. Friday a family member. Saturday that's also a free day. And whether I actually get to talk to that person or not, but I leave a voicemail
Yeah.
and just let them know, hey, I'm thinking about you, what's going on. Sometimes we can sit there and talk all day. Sometimes we don't. But I'm very thankful for my friends and the people that have allowed me to come into their life and to be able to work with them and things like that. So that's what I'm thankful for, and that's what I feel um, really gets me going. Just knowing that everyone's okay or whatever. And it's just that's it. That's what gets my day going. And so, and I think I've been doing this now for about 4 years since COVID. Since
Okay.
COVID, now just before COVID hit, and when I started doing that, and so that's just it for me right there. Calling my friends and family, making sure everybody's okay. And I'm thankful that they all fine or doing whatever they're doing,
Hmm.
and that's it.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing. I think um, And like you, I know that is a great way to show gratitude. Is one to tell people. Checking in on them is, even if you don't say I'm grateful or I'm thankful for you, checking in on them lets people know, it's good to be thought about. It's good that somebody picked up the phone and decided to call, right? Took time out of their day and gave me a call. And for that, and hopefully, and it sets a tone. It sets an example of, if this person can do this for me, then I possibly can start doing this for others. And then internally, it just helps us to be um, just grateful, like, just being able to be in a space where we are have some peace and some light and just showing gratitude just for day to day. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else?
Sure. I would say I have two. For my personal life, I think of my husband and the gratefulness that's there for the relationship. And so being mindful of thanking him for things that he does for our relationship, it can seem like a given. And I guess in a lot of ways, maybe it is when you're in a relationship, but it's still, I think, powerful to
Yeah,
be expressing that out loud to that person so that they feel seen in what they're doing. We can get
yeah,
into that slump of we just do the things to do the things. And they don't maybe hit home as much or it doesn't feel like they're valued. And so personal life, that's the easiest one to do because we live together. So that's an everyday thing to strive for. And then even in our professional work, my organization has done a lot around thanking people for showing up to meeting spaces. So even though it's an agreed upon time that we're meeting,
yeah.
or mutually beneficial, thanking them for taking the time out of their day to meet and have discussions with us because we want to continue that partnership and foster that connection more. And so verbalizing that we're thankful that they've done those things or that they've contributed to the conversation, we've worked on that quite a bit.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing. And it's a Marshall.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and I agree. We sometimes, again, that day to day and just doing what our roles consist of us doing, and we just forget to, that we don't, in either role, we don't have to do. People choose every single day not to show up how they should show up. So definitely giving gratitude and thanks for when it's due. And more often than not, just making it habit, making it, normalizing it, making it a habit. And then again, even in the professional space. And so one of the things that we do in our space, we have a time for shout outs. Just giving a thanks, and it could be as small as, I appreciate you holding the door, helping me create some more files, or just whatever, just letting people know, again, like you said, feel seen, right? And so absolutely, thank you for sharing. Anybody else? Right, we'll move on to the next one. Mindfulness, right? So, mindfulness is a state of active, open attention to the present. This state is described as observing one's thoughts and feelings without judging them as good or bad. And got that from the Journal of Psychology today. So, again, not end all be all. Mindfulness activities, um, doing what you like, right? Doing what you love. Or sometimes you may not like or love these things that you need to do, but you do what you need to do anyways. So a list of things that I put down, and there it is such a it's there's so many more things that we could add to it, and I'm interested in hearing some of the mindfulness activities that you do to help promote just self-care, walking, dancing, and singing. So, Marshall, because childhood lasts a lifetime. That is so important. We get so caught up with the day to day moving in and out, goings and comings, right? We forget to be like children sometimes. We forget to have fun. We forget to laugh. We forget to joke around and play and just dream. And somebody else in the last group talked about just spacing out. just taking a moment for yourself and just finding a space where you could just space out, tune out everything. And so that's super important. Again, meditate. And so I do have to, and I probably shouldn't do this as a facilitator, but we're all facilitators. So you guys can hopefully let me off the hook. Number 3 says signing. I was like, well, I messed that up. It really means singing. I really meant singing there. But singing, journaling, the guided or unguided meditating again, stretching. How important is it to take some time to stretch? Take some time to exercise. Like, what does that really do for our brains and our bodies as we're sitting? Some of us sit at jobs where we're sitting all day, or we're so in tune to the tasks that we're doing that we're forgetting just to move a bit, right? So, what does that look like? Grounding activities. What activities do you implement to ground yourself? And again, as we're facilitating the ACEs curriculum, and so whether we're doing it midday, morning time, or early evening facilitating, sometimes we could have done 50 things back to back, back to back, back to back. And and again, preparing for the training, we still, we do a lot. So, taking time to ground yourself, finding activities that you enjoy that helps you to just center yourself and come back, be ready. And the goal is to get yourself to a place where you actually have a clear mind, where you can breathe, where you're relaxed, because it's important to bring a certain type of energy. And you want to be sure to be bringing positive energy, whether it be in the space of training or facilitating, or just in your personal life, professional life, right? Recognizing what type of energy are you bringing? How are you operating? Are you operating out of anxiety or panic, or just this fast pace, like nonstop, right? And I just like at work, right? We can walk by each other and you're just speeding right past, just drifting away, just so caught up, right? When do we take time to say, take a deep breath and come back, so that we can come back to ourselves and create a space of where we're calming our nerves down, and right, our nervous system has to be brought back centered and into a safe space. Extremely important. What do you all do? Anybody can share. What do you do for some of your mindfulness activities?
I like to color before going to bed.
Love it. Haiti?
Heidi, yes.
Heidi. I love it.
It makes me I have a bad I had a bad habit. I just started doing it, but I had a bad habit of like being on my phone until I'm gonna go to sleep. So it's I kind of replaced it with coloring.
Hmm.
And it helps.
Yeah. Heidi, that's definitely one of my guilty pleasures. I have young adults, and they are like, "Mom, do not send me not one more video." I said at this point, everybody should know how to cook, because that's mostly what I'm saying. Help them cook dinner, maybe ideas.
You can send them to me. I'm
I'll
down for
see.
ideas.
Thank you, Heidi, for
Mm.
sharing. Anybody
Well,
else got some mind?
well,
Go ahead, sir.
well, for me, I've been able to practice stillness, just sitting still, anytime, any place, anywhere, doesn't matter. If I feel like I need to just stop, I will just sit there for a few minutes. I try every morning to sit out on my front porch and just look. Because as I shared with you before, I live at the foot of South Mountain.
Mm,
I actually try to look up into the mountains to see if I can see an animal walking around,
yeah.
even a scorpion climbing across the rock. Knowing I can't, but I can imagine it's there. There should
Yeah.
be one there. And so that's one of the things. And then one of my hobbies is laughter. That's one of my hobbies. I love to laugh
La-
all the time. Eh, Well, used to be anything, but now I have some empathy now, and I've grown a little bit mature with my laughter. But I love to laugh.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. And first of all, I just want to, hey, look, that sitting out and enjoying, letting that be the first thing you do. Sometimes it really helps. Getting your feet on some concrete, getting your feet on some grass, right? Sitting out, letting that sun hit you. It really helps.
Well, I don't know about hit that the sun hit
Well,
me.
okay, okay. But let's do morning sun though. Don't forget
But I
though.
go early.
Wait, okay.
I have to go out there early in
You
the
gotta go
morning.
out there early in the morning.
Yep,
Like we're
early.
talking about pre-6 as of
Yeah.
late, pre-6 o'clock sun. But it just whatever works for you. And I just appreciate you mentioning that because I love to go out too with my coffee and get some fresh air and see that sun and get some heat really quick and come on back in the house and get my day started. But yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. All right, let's go to the next one here. Self-awareness. I'll move my screen here. Um, so I'm really big on personal development. Emotional intelligence is one of my things that I facilitate. I facilitate workshops and work groups on, and self-awareness is one of the main things that I try to impress on people. Conscious knowledge of one's own character, feelings, motives, and desires. Right? How do I show up? Right? How do I show up? After we implement and start to practice all the things that we talked about through self-care, right? The goal is really for us to become internally better and healthy, right? And so because if we start to do that and we start to push these things and promote these things internally, it just comes out. It comes out in how we show up and what we do. Um, and so again, when we're in spaces, I say in and off the field. So, but when we're on the field of presenting the ACEs training, right, it's extremely important. Am I making an honest effort? Am I using positive self talk before, during, and after? Am I recognizing my own biases? Am I operating in my authentic presence? Right. And this one is important because as we're just again doing our day to day, whether it be again facilitating or if we're just with our own families or our own mates or whoever, we can be having a conversation. Are you really present? Right? Being mindful of that, like really thinking, am I being present in the moment? Am I influencing the space positively? And this is going to be big again uh, for us as we facilitate because we want to come in because this is some heavy material. So we want to come in and influence the space positively. We want to come in and just like bring that laughter, right? We want to come in and just knowing that we may be considered the experts, but we're not the experts. And so we want to come in ready to still grow and learn because we are going to take some things that we're going to learn from this where we are going to have to implement the positive self-talk. We are going to have to make sure that we're making an honest effort, and that just speaks back to the why and why we're here, why we chose to be facilitators. This is not by chance, right? Some of us have been gifted this, right? So it's a reason that we're here. And so just being self-aware in how we show up and why we show up the way that we show up. And if we need to adjust and change some things, then that's what we would have to do to make sure that we are creating creating a safe space and being super positive in and off the field. Anybody got anything to add? All right. So for self-care routines, super important, right? Find the things that bring you joy, that bring you back, that create allows you to level set. Um, in one of the other rooms, one of the mm, um, trainers shared that her son on Sunday, that is his reset day. He cleans his house. He's 20. That's awesome. It's awesome in a sense of one, he's cleaning, right, as a 20-year-old on his own. But then it's also awesome that he understand the importance of resetting. You know, it's important that we do not go 7 in, 7 out, 24 down, 24 back up. We really have to start to implement self-care routines to help us, like, get us back centered, grounded, get us back where our nervous systems are unstressed. Um, so doing, implementing reading, different ways to relax. How do you relax? Do you read a book? Do you go get a pedicure? Do you go for a spa? Do you journal? Do you talk? Do you cry? Do you pray? Implementing anything that works for you. These are just a list that I came up with, right? I could probably had a hundred things that we could do. But I think the most important is creating a routine. Because I don't know how many times you all go get a pedicure, but mine is far few in between because of schedule, right? And this is not one of my all-time favorite things to do to create self-care. I really try to do things that will help me like move through the rest of my day, the rest of my week. So if that is finding a safe space to talk, if that is finding uh, a safe space to cry, if I have to journal, like what works for me may be different for what works for you. But the important thing here, and we got 5 minutes, the important thing here is to start to implement the self care routines because it helps us to operate better. It helps us to feel internally better. And I think, again, the goal here is to definitely create changes that make a lasting impact through the things that we have to do internally, if that makes sense. Does anybody have any self care routines that they do or implement?
I usually like to I read. I love to read. To do that, I try to go work out at least 3 days out the week. I love to swim. I don't have a pool. Let's see. And then and then as I said earlier, I try to maintain contact by talking with my friends and relatives.
Yeah,
Stuff and
absolutely.
staying in touch. And I'm very fortunate that I have a job that I love, and I really enjoy coming to work. Can't wait to come to work. We normally have a great day here.
Well, listen,
That's it.
that's pretty awesome. Just that last one within itself. Because a lot of us, and I have a job that I love too. I love the work that I do. But that's a big one, right? Yeah. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
All right. So just making sure we got those self-care routines, start to implement them, start to making it a habit, making it a norm, doing things daily, weekly. What does that look like? Put it into your schedule. Most of us work in jobs where we have to create a schedule on a calendar. What does your calendar look like outside of that for you? Be intentional, my friends, my fellow trainers. We got to be happy, healthy, and whole for ourselves as well. All right, last one. Building deeper connections. This is important because we're not on this journey alone. Like this again, this is some heavy work, and just know that with the dedication and the why behind why it is, you chose to become a facilitator. Your commitment to improving and changing lives, all of those different things is worth the journey. So in doing this journey, though, making sure that we're building deeper connections. I'm extremely happy that we have this community, that we do have this type of um, setting that we could come together and do this training. I think there will be more, but it's important for us to build relationship with other ACEs facilitators. Um, we can learn from each other. We can support each other. We can work with each other. Not even only that, like, bouncing off ideas, and being a source of like a stress relief. So you're coming up off of a training and you just need to um, talk it through, talk about it, right? And break it down. And so having people to be able to do that who know and can experience and understand what you're going through. But not only that, being willing to nurture the relationships in and off the field. Okay, in and off the field, nurturing your relationships. People talk about your network is uh, creates your net worth, but a lot of times it's really, really important to nurture the relationships that you're in. Sharing information, supporting fellow trainers. So just implementing different things to help us build the deeper connections as ACES facilitators. So, any questions, any thoughts, any inputs? Have you felt like you've been connected to other ACES facilitators? How do you operate that? How do you navigate that?
Uh, One of the things that I do is because I do and now work with primarily coalitions, and we have quite a few ACEs trainers among the coalitions, and so I try to support them and attend whenever they do trainings because we all try to support one another. And the key thing for there is the fact that you can see how to do something a different way,
Yeah.
or because we all have our own styles.
Yes.
We all feel comfortable doing certain parts of the presentation. And actually, the last time I did that, um, the person who I went and saw their presentation on ACES, they actually emphasized the part that I generally just kind of gloss over, but they went into
Yeah.
more detail on it and gave it a full and different type of perspective. And so I think it's very important for us to support and go to, support one another whenever we have the opportunity to hear somebody else present ACE.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All important. Thank you for sharing. Uh,
Should save on, let me look, because it's interesting that it's still recording when you come back in from the breakout room.
Yeah. But maybe it's because I'm back with you. Let's hope. But
Yeah.
if everybody was supposed to come back, I thought, okay, I guess that means we're all supposed to come back.
Yeah. Jill, why don't you go on and stop recording? Because it looks like because I can't stop the recording.
Do you want me to stop the recording?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you do.
Because then what it'll do is continue to record this main session.
Okay. So if I stop the recording, it'll still be in there, right?
Yep. It'll
Okay.
save to your computer. And
Okay.
then you and I can have a phone, we can have a Zoom meeting to.
Okay, afterward.
Okay.
This is a first for all of us with this.
I know.
With the breakout rooms with recording and not recording and whatever.
Yeah. And Qualandra and Sanghoon, I think you both, because I still see that it's recording, so you both need to stop your recordings as well. I have to make a note of that so I remember next time we try to do this. But
yeah, so you have to go back into your little more 3 dots.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I need to stop because I did it back and forth. Am I still doing it?
I'm still seeing I'm still seeing that it's recording, but I can't see who is recording.
It might be Qualandra.
Yeah,
I need to go to my room.
Yeah. No, you just need to look at your toolbar. You should be able to stop record.
Got you. Stop